Okay, so today's question, yesterday we talked about Groundhog Day and the joy dial, and I started to touch on this, but it's just the question of asking from the future, right? So I want you to time travel to the future, and I want you to imagine that you have created everything you want. Okay. If you don't know what you want yet, that's okay. We're going to do the want workshop this weekend. But just time travel forward and just let yourself imagine that you have developed the skills, developed the capacity, created the connections, done everything you need to do to create the life that you want. And now you're looking back. So for me, when I do this exercise right now, it changes depending on what I wanted. When I was living in Spain and Rita was ill, I was just imagining being in France. Now I've been in France for a year. I live in France. It's done, right? It was done as soon as I got here. And I did it in 3 months. From decision to go to actually being in France, I think it was October. Yeah, it was mid-October or end of October. I'm going to find the date because I'm always like, it's interesting. So arriving on January the 8th or January the 14th, I think. It was actually 3 months. This is to change country, close a business, set up a business, do lots of things. So I want you to know that you can create enormous change very quickly once you decide, okay? But right now, what I do is I imagine myself on the steps of the chateau and I've got my coffee in my hands. It's actually a hot chocolate because it's the afternoon, right? So I imagine the sun on my face. I'm leaning on my partner. Rita is snuffling. I've got the hot chocolate in my hand and I'm looking back and I'm looking back at this moment and I'm saying, yeah, that was the moment where I learned to. Okay. So this year, what I've been doing is looking back at the time that I was in Spain, the time where it felt like nothing was happening. Okay. And when Rita was very ill, and I was just like, it was this groundhog day of just driving, panic, dealing with the anxiety, sorting out money, getting enough money for the next operation, really being in limbo. It felt like I was being in limbo, but of course, what I was doing was creating life for Rita. And we were setting up the health foundations for her. And for myself, that was the moment where I learned to be present and to stop rushing. And this was so important because once I started dating and I decided to enjoy that experience, and started to build a relationship with somebody that is based on setting up a foundation of adventure, connection, of honesty, of integrity, of creativity, of, all these different things. I realized that I was able to savor every single moment and to really intentionally build. So remember when we talk about your strengths and your weaknesses, and how my biggest weakness used to be reactivity and rushing. So every relationship that I had when I was younger, before I started to connect with this part of me that could be slow, that could savor, that could be intentional, I'd meet someone, we'd move in together, and then there'd be a 6 year relationship or a 9 year relationship. And I would find myself thinking, oh, did this happen? Right? Or just kind of reeling from it and not knowing quite how to get out of it, okay, because I'd created it so quickly. So, this was the moment when I learned how to savor, how to be intentional. So, I'm going to ask you to think about today, what are you learning to do right now? What is this moment that you're in? How will you be using this when you create what you want to create later? I'll see you tomorrow.